What's up, CFO gang? It's your boy Jay Tuck. Real Cowboys fans stand up, and you're now tuned in CFO Sports. So if you're new, do us a huge favor. Go ahead and give us a subscribe, turn that notification bell to make sure you do not miss out on any Dallas Cowboys news and content. Well, as I said yesterday, camp is among us, right? We're coming up on camp next week, and so we got a lot of interesting things to talk about. And what I want to talk about today is some of the camp names that you might be hearing circulating but not be very familiar with. So we kind of know the starters, right? We know the Dak Prescotts, we know the Ezekiel Elliott's, the CeeDee Lambs, and the so-ons, right? But to really build a championship contender, it's all about depth. And last season, we had some quality depth. Now, I feel like last year's class is going to take a leap forward, right? You have your Osas, you have your Chauncey Golstons, you have your Micah Parsons, who's being hated on Madden football, only at 88. Ugh, Madden, get together. You have your Kelvin Josephs and so on, right? I feel like they're going to take the leap forward, but there's some guys on this year's roster who we picked up, whether it was in the draft or undrafted free agents, who I feel like can still make a step forward and be able to contribute to this team. Maybe it's on special teams initially, but I think eventually you might see them on the rosters on game day. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first guy is a guy I've been extremely high on way back when we were doing all those mock drafts late at night, right? Talk, why you keep picking this guy? Why you keep picking this guy, man? Out of HBCU, that's Marquise Bell out of FAMU. And I love Marquise Bell. I loved him when I scouted him in the draft. I personally would have drafted him. I was not going to take the risk of him going elsewhere because he almost ended up an Eagle. It seems like the Dallas Cowboys offered him a little bit. They put a little extra in the bag for Marquise Bell to come to Dallas, but I know that he is a safety, but I think we might have to view him as kind of that hybrid linebacker, kind of the Keanu Neal replacement. So I know a lot of people compare him to Jaron Kearse. I think maybe down the road he could eventually evolve in that, but I think you might see him kind of that hybrid position. So especially when we're playing the big nickel position is where you could see Marquise Bell utilized the most. He has the length, he has some strength, some athleticism. It's all there as far as package wise. Now, you played here in Kansas. He played at Coffeyville Community College. That's where I initially heard about him. Talked to a few people while he was in Coffeyville, but then he went on to FAMU. So a lot of people question the type of opponents that he's played against, right? Because, of course, he didn't play against the Alabamas and all that, right? But I feel like it's going to be a slow play, but you're already hearing a lot of rumblings about Marquise Bell. I mean, hell, even the mothership today, the Dallas Cowboys, wrote an article about Marquise Bell talking about his ceiling. So there's definitely a lot circulating when it comes to Marquise Bell. I would not be surprised if he becomes more of just a special teams guy. You might kind of see him in rotation a little bit, in some of those blowout 40 burgers victories. But I can see Marquise Bell being a name that's definitely going to continue to spark in training camp. The next one, Matt Farah. And so Matt Farah, he got some reps last year. He was a 7th round pick. He played versus Philly when we blew Philly out by 50. When we blew Philly out by 50, they act like they forget about that. They forget about the 50s and the 40 burgers that we put up on them last year. And Matt Farah was out there. So, no, we did not play. You know what? I'm not even going to talk about them. But, you're kind of hearing the conversation. I know my guy BJ Nix has kind of talked about it on shows. And also my guy Professor O, salute to my Pick 6 family, about could he actually press Tyler Biadasz to be the starting center in Dallas moving forward. So Mike McCarthy and also Stephen Jones has come out and said, like, the position is open competition when it comes to the center position. Now, me personally, I am going to stand behind Tyler B. Tyler Biadasz, I'm riding for you, bro. I feel like last year, even though he didn't have a great season, kind of his rookie season, he did decent, but I feel like he can take another leap forward. But you're hearing conversations about Matt Farah. Could he make a push at that center position? So that's something we're definitely going to need to keep our eye on to see if there's going to be some competition there, and could Tyler B lose that position? I think not, but you never know until we get to camp. The third guy, another pet cat, right? Another boo thing for Jay Tuck, TJ Vasher, right? My 6'6" target. Last year's draft class, I kept saying if we don't get Kyle Pitts, I was going to slap Pitts on the back of TJ Vasher and put him out there and say, go get it, right? But the Cowboys like TJ Vasher, and I think it truly shows because they kept him on the squad last year, even though he had some injuries. So 6'6", wiry frame, big catch radius, not the most physical guy, not a crisp route runner, right? But he can help because the one thing that we talked about frequently, right? Red zone. Being more efficient in the red zone and kind of have this big target out there in TJ Vash where we can just throw it up and say, go get it. It helps. It helps a lot. And so you've been hearing things about him in OTAs already. So the TJ Vasher hype train has already picked up steam. And with Michael Gallup kind of being out possibly on the pup and kind of that conversation of who's going to emerge as the wide receiver 4, I think you have the conversations about Noah Brown, Vasher, also Tassimi Fiyoko, who was last year's pick. In there at conversation, it's going to be open competition for that position. So I'm definitely keeping an eye on TJ Vasher. And I think once Cowboys fans see TJ in preseason, y'all going to like him. The next one, Matt Waletzko, 5th round pick out of North Dakota, right? And so that's been the huge question I get asked frequently, right? Tuck, what are we going to do about the swing tackle? What are we going to do about the swing tackle? Now, I will say this. I believe, and this is just me, it's just me. I spy with my little eye. I think Tyler Smith is our swing tackle. I think if things hit the fan, if something happens with Tyron Smith or something happens with Terrence Steele, I think they might try to swing Tyler and plug in Connor McGovern at the left guard position. That's just me putting on my coach's hat, right? But if that's not the case, let's say that Tyler Smith is our guard moving forward, then the competition really comes down to Matt Waletzko, but also last year's 4th round pick in Josh Ball. Now, last year, we didn't hear a lot about Josh Ball. We kept asking, where's Josh Ball? What about Josh Ball? We didn't hear nothing. So I think Matt Waletzko and Josh Ball are going to have an open competition to really see who emerges at that swing tackle position, whether it's the left tackle position or the right tackle position. So that's something we definitely got to keep our eye on. But I like Matt coming out of North Dakota. One of my favorites. And I think that was a great pickup in the 5th round for the Dallas Cowboys, even though it wasn't Mari Cooper worthy. The next one, Isaac Taylor Stewart. And we're going to talk about this later as we dive into the cornerback room specifically, right? But I feel like when it comes to our corners, and I know a lot of people hit me up on Twitter, I said CB4. Yeah, you ever seen the movie CB4? CB4, shout out to Chris Rock. CB4, right? So I feel like you got Diggs Island, Anthony Brown, I'm like that too, and you have Jordan Lewis. Now you have questions about Kelvin Joseph. Now I feel like Kelvin Joseph has the slightly, because remember this time last year, right? A lot of the hype and steam was around Nahshon Wright. So I think that a lot of people want to lock in Kelvin Joseph because he was the 2nd round pick. But Nahshon Wright got off to a great start in camp. And if he's able to kind of keep that, you just never know. It really comes down to sponsors. But we have some other guys in house, right? Whether it's Deron Bland, whether it's Isaac Taylor Stewart, who's a guy I personally like. Now, I think that Stewart is going to be a special teams guy initially because he has the athletic frame, right? It's all there. If you're building a creative player at the cornerback position, it's probably going to come out and look just like Isaac Taylor Stewart out of USC, right? It's going to look just like him. 6'2", long arms, 4.4 speed, can do it all. But it just hasn't translated on the field. So he had some lacks in coverages. The IQ wasn't really all there. But let's say a coach like Al Harris is able to put that together. You can get you a mold of clay and really build from that because it's all there. All the physical aspect is there. Length, speed, height, size, everything is there. It's just translating on the field. So we definitely got to keep our eye on Isaac Taylor Stewart. Some other players, kind of some notable players. I mentioned Josh Ball. Him and Matt Waletzko are definitely going to compete for that swing tackle position. We also have Devin Harper, who was a draft pick, and Tyler Coyle out of last year, right? Safety. And so we talked about the safety position, right? We have Jaron Curse. We have Donovan Wilson. You have Malik Hooker. And then you kind of have the conversation, okay, so what's going to kind of happen? It's going to be Izzy, Akwamu from last year. Who's going to really emerge, and how many safeties will we keep remains to be unseen. And another guy is Braylon Jones. Braylon Jones was a guy who can play center. He can also play guard as well, so kind of give you that flexibility. We played a few reps last season, so it's going to be interesting. But these are a few sleepers that I'm keeping my eye on when we get ready for camp next week. So let me know, comment below, who are some guys you guys are watching. I know there's some wide receivers that a lot of people are showing some favoritism to, whether it's the Brandon Smith and etc. But these are some guys I'm definitely going to be watching and making sure that I'm keeping my ear to the street when it comes to camp out there in Oxnard starting next week, man. It's your boy J Tuck. Comment, like, subscribe, turn on that notification bell to make sure you don't miss out I'm gonna tell you guys like this. This Sunday, 5 p.m. Mega. This Sunday, 5 p.m. Mega. I'll repeat. This Sunday at 5 p.m. Mega. We're going to do something mega, and you definitely do not want to miss out. You're going to enjoy it. You're going to enjoy it, Cowboys Nation. This is specifically for you, and we're going to have fun. So this is why you got to turn that notification bell so you do not miss out, man. I want everyone to stay safe, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and go Cowboys. Peace.